Hi everyone. In this session, I'm going to show you how to create a debit note against the opening balance. Let's say you have migrated the opening balances from your legacy software. Now that opening balance is either paid or it can be unpaid. It can be any situation. And now you want to create a debit note for it. In order to do that, you have to go to vendor advance. You have to go under expense module, go to vendor advance. Under vendor advance, once you click on it, you will be finding all the vendor advance transactions. So don't get confused by the name as vendor advance. You can do multiple transactions from the same screen. So click on create new. Once you click on create new, you have to fill the respective vendor against which you want to issue the debit note. You have to select 003, or it can be any vendor. I'm selecting a vendor 003. Payment method, it can be debit or credit. Let's say I'm collecting a debit note. This payment method does not impact anything. And here, advance type, I'm selecting it as debit because I want to issue debit note. It can be a paid opening balance or it can be unpaid opening balance. Regardless of it, you can issue a debit note to it. And in fact, you can also issue the debit note to the vendor in another scenario. Let's say you have purchased multiple transactions or more than the amount that has been given target by your vendor. As you achieve that target that you have purchased more and you're getting a bulk discount from your vendor, even in that scenario, you can create a debit note. Okay, and then select pay from. As this is a discount for you or it's an other income, getting a debit note, you can select discount received because it's another income for you, or you can select the respective ledger as required by the situation. And then select tax group if you want to make the tax implications. If you don't want to make tax implications, select tax group as a name. If you select tax group as a name, it will not even come in the tax group. If you want, it will not even come in the tax report. If you want it to come in the tax report but have no tax implication, tax impact, then you have to select VAT 0 or VAT exempt. It will come in the tax report but with 0 VAT. So if you want respective VAT, you can select. So I'm selecting here VAT exclusive because I want to reverse the VAT also, reverse the input VAT. So now let's say the vendor has a debit note which I have to issue of 20,000. So I'm selecting 20,000 and the VAT is implied here. If there is any charges of the bank, you can issue, but here as we're issuing debit note, so there is no charges involved. Select the respective financial center if you want to imply, because this is an income against a financial center should be selected if you want to target it against financial center or against the project. If you don't want to select, you can select as NA. So now all the things are there and click on add. Now you can see that it will credit this pay from ledger. Whatever the pay from was selected, discount receipt, it will credit this pay from ledger. You can go into the report sections and see that it has created the vendor advance and debited the discount. So it has created the discount receipt and debited the vendor advance. At the same time, as there was an input VAT, because the VAT needs to be claimed back, maybe you can settle it or now itself or reverse it. So there's a VAT implications here. It has debited the input VAT and created the interim tax. Now, definitely, I'm sure that you all have a question why it has debited input VAT. Instead, it should have created the input VAT. Yes, it will do that. You have to settle this debit note against the available balance of this supplier. How to settle it? You have to go to vendor bill payment. Click on vendor bill payment, click plus button. So it will open a vendor bill payment screen. This is the vendor bill payment form for you. Now you have to select the pay to as vendor. We, which is a vendor, same vendor. Now this vendor, the respective details of this vendor will come here. You can select the settlement date and pay from, you have to select as vendor advance. Select pay from as vendor advance. There is no payment because we are just settling the debit note against the unpaid opening balance. Now select the vendor advance. So this is there are two vendor advance available. So I'm selecting this one and I'm going to settle. This is the opening balance which I have migrated from my legacy system. So now I'm going to settle 23,000 the entire. But if you want to add the breakdown, even you can add the breakdown here. And then click on approved. Yes. If there is, let me finish this transaction. So click on add. So now, if you see the ledger impacts, it will have debited your payable, which was supposed to receive, and credited your vendor advance. At the same time, it has also credited your input VAT and interim tax. So at the end, this is a transaction which is happening here. So the tax is also reversed now. So, and now let's say that you don't have an opening balance. What can be done? If you don't have an opening balance, or the opening balance is already paid, or the vendor does not have any opening balance, then in that situation, you can keep this debit note as it is. And whenever you raise a future invoice, you can collect back that, or you can settle that debit note against that purchase invoice. Thank you.